Drop everything and clear those ears. It's time for the Dave and Dave Show.
Vito on the air. Jersey Dave to the Dave. Look at that Mets hat. Gotta love you. The Mets magic is back.
The Mets magic is back, as a matter of fact. There's been a lot of magic around here. Citi Field is going to be rocking later today. Today is Tuesday, October 9th. We are trying to vanquish those effing fleas. The fleas from Philadelphia. We are going to take them down today. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on.
You're right, with those lovely unis and those prima donna Philadelphia fans. Yes, we will touch upon that. Well, let's get right into it with your kickball, Dave. To me, you're still on fire.
And the reign of terror is over.
All right, you took a little bump, a little bit, you know.
5 consecutive kickball winners, one solitary game. I believe I think 4 of them were draws and 1 of them was a side.
Gotta love that.
We went with a bit of a long shot with Crystal Palace against Liverpool. They fought hard. Dude, they seriously had a chance to tie that game up at the end a couple of times. They had one where it was a man on the goaltender alone, and he didn't score. They lost 1-0. They fought hard, but they lost. So the streak is over. We're going to start a new streak. Now, they're taking another international break, which really drives me crazy how often they do this. I understand the international aspect of this sport is very important. I love it when clubs from the different countries play each other at
Champion League, right?
Could you imagine if that happened in baseball? Like if there was a super top team of Cuba that then came and played the Yankees, it would be awesome. It would be awesome. That's the same kind of thing they have going in international soccer with the clubs playing one another. This week, this is an international break for the national teams. So this is the UEFA nations over in Europe, and it's the CONCACAF here in the
Americas.
I barely say I don't really pay as much attention to the Western Hemisphere.
All right, well, give us a winner in Europe.
I'm going to give you one. Tomorrow, there's a really cool game. It's a great matchup between Italy and Belgium. Now, Italy, they didn't even make the World Cup field the last week. Okay, 2022, even in it, which is just this huge embarrassment for everybody in Italy. Was just beside themselves with how far down the team that had won the whole thing pretty recently that didn't even make the field. On the other hand, the team that they're playing, Belgium, they came into the last World Cup as the top-rated national team. Now, they didn't play that way. They didn't even get out of their group. They played like shit and actually kind of played poorly in some of the more recent international competitions. 2 of their biggest players, including this guy De Bruyne, who plays for Man City, they're not even on the team anymore.
And a great goalkeeper as well.
Yeah, a lot of discord going on with Belgium and a lot of positive things with Italy. They've come out in this competition right now, qualifying for the next UEFA.
So you're liking the Italians, are you?
No, I'm not.
No, you're going with
the backs to the wall. I'm going with the backs to the wall mentality here. I think Belgium's got to get their act together. I think they're going to play tough, and I'm looking at a draw plus 240.
Both teams have been
between Italy and Belgium.
Yeah,
I think you're getting a huge price just because everybody is just thinking that Italy is on top of the world again. And they did beat France 3-1 recently, and they gave up a goal in 13 seconds in that game, and then they came back and scored 3 straight, won the game over France, stunned them, I would say.
Impressive.
Yeah, but
and there's a lot of talent in that country. You know, Serie A is a very respected league, probably somewhat stronger than the Spanish league at the moment, with the Premier League being tops. But I do understand what you're saying, that Belgium in the last year or so, their program has kind of regressed. 4 years ago, they were a power. Good to see you go with the Belgians. Okay.
With the draw,
and
plus 240.
You're going for the draw. What's the price on that? 275?
240.
240. Still a nice price. All right, let's swing over to the college gridiron where, treading water. I got a little hit. I was 3-2. My streak and my big teams fell flat on their face. Who are you looking at the college gridiron? Actually, I have a game tonight.
I'm going to make you go first because you're picking tonight's game. Wednesday.
Will do, Happy. Will do. I'm taking a big dog. I'm barking at the moon. I'm going with the Lobos. The Lobos from New Mexico State. Speaking of barking, speaking of howling, against Jacksonville State, the same Jacksonville State that crushed Kennesaw State.
Unless we edit this, we got to tell you, New Mexico State is the Aggies. New Mexico.
They're the Aggies, are they? Oh, that's right. New Mexico is the Logos. I get mixed up with those mascots. Not about the Metropolitans, but the mascots. Anyway, we're going with New Mexico State against that powerhouse Jacksonville State. Yeah, we're 1-4, but we lost to a couple of tough teams. They lost to Libertyville. They lost to Liberty, who's not that tough. And I think we could take the 20 and put some money in our pocket. So take 20 points, take New Mexico State against Jacksonville State tonight.
They're your local boys. You're not going with your local team?
I know they're right around the corner. I think they're a little nervous. All these hurricanes that are sliding by side. But New Mexico State is the way to go. Take the 20 points.
I wish you luck. Tomorrow night, I'm looking at a game tomorrow night, Thursday night game, between two really good, little lower echelon teams, but both teams that have been in bowls regularly lately, both teams that have beaten some of the big boys in matchups. This one, I just have a feeling that James Madison is maybe getting a little too much credit. And I think they're laying a little bit too much to Coastal Carolina. I think we're easily within a touchdown of these guys. We're getting 9.5 points. I'm taking Coastal Carolina against James Madison.
David, we're going head-to-head there. I can't believe you're going against your Dukes. The Dukes.
I love them, but I also love they're some sort of rooster. Coastal Carolina is the Chanticleers. Exactly. I actually did shirts for him a number of years ago. My wife's nephew, I guess that means he's my nephew. He went to school there, and he was sports management.
More power
to him. I got to do the logo.
But we're looking at the Dukes. Yes, faltered last week against University of Louisiana Monroe, who's at the top of their conference. But I know you're thinking that they're the darlings. But they're playing tough. They put a 70 spot up on North Carolina, which we know is not a great team.
And we had them.
70 points.
We had them when they did.
They gave up 50, but we beat them by 20. I watched that game. They looked incredible.
Yeah,
and
they did.
I think they got too much for Coastal Carolina. You're right. It's been a good program, but not necessarily this year. Yes, they have a great record, but they really haven't beaten anybody, my friend. You know, they beat up on Temple. They beat up
after they beat James Madison.
William and Emory are still in Division 3 or 4, and they beat Jacksonville State. They lost to a Virginia team. They got crushed, and they beat Old Dominion. So we're going head-to-head there on Thursday night, my friend. Let's lean towards Saturday. Who are you looking at?
I'm actually looking at Friday night. I'm looking at
Friday night fight.
I'm looking at Arizona State +6 against Utah. I respect Utah. I think Arizona State a little underrated this year. Both Arizona schools are actually pretty good this year. So I am looking at Arizona State +6 against Utah. You know, quarterback issues with Utah, and I like Arizona State at home in the desert on Friday night.
Yeah, those issues have really hurt the Utes. I was on them again last week. They lost. They got beat. But you're right. Both Arizona and Arizona State are playing good ball. Arizona State beat a good Kansas team, and also Texas State. I see there they beat them up as well. So I like your pick there, but I'm not with them. I'm going back to Jersey side. I'm going to try the Scarlet Knights again. A push, that would be Rutgers. You know, we kissed our sister last week. We got a push against a tough Nebraska team, who I know you don't think is that good, but they have a good good offense. And Rutgers has shown they got a tough D. I'm going to give 2.5. Whiskey is really not the top 10 Big Ten powerhouse that they once were. We know that. I think they go into Jersey a little bit beat up on the defense. And I'm going to lay 2.5 and a couple of units. I do like Rutgers this week in New Jersey.
I told our mutual friend, Tony Kauai, who went to the University of Wisconsin, that if he ever hears me saying that I put another dime on Wisconsin, he has permission to shoot me in the head. Honest to God, that game against SC, That was a disgrace.
Yes, it was.
So I love your Rutgers pick. I think they're still not getting enough Big Ten love with a top coach and a tough defense. And I thought they could beat Nebraska straight up. They didn't do it, but they did hang in there. They belong with these guys, these mid-tier Big Ten teams, and I think Wisconsin is one of those. I don't think they're one of the top teams. So
they're
going a lot. I didn't pick them, but I like your Rutgers pick.
They got the Madison Blues, as George Thorogood would say.
Right.
And Madison, a great party for Halloween. I've been up there a couple times, had to hitchhike from the Chicago area. But this year, they're on their way down. Dave, who else you liking on the college gridiron?
All right. The Red River Battle every year. It's just fun. It's great how serious.
It's great for college football.
It's just always such a good thing. And there was a little while there where they were talking about, these two teams not playing each other, which is crazy. This to me is college football. This game needs to be played every year. Oklahoma, Texas. It's a no-brainer because I'm not even using my brain. I'm just looking at the number and I'm just saying Oklahoma at home, 2 touchdowns. I know they already burned me earlier this year. Oklahoma did.
I mean, everybody's ready to crown Texas as the
in this game. No? I've seen games where with the decided underdog in this game ends up winning this game like easily. So I'm hoping that Oklahoma has their game face on, that they come ready to play, and that they at least there's been other games in the recent history of this series where they just go back and forth, or when a team has a really big lead and then they let the other team back in it, like that crazy Alabama-Georgia game. There was one of those recently with Oklahoma, Texas. It was just nuts. Just hang in there, guys. Just hang in there, play them tough, stay within 2 touchdowns, make me happy. Anyway, going Sooners.
Well, they really have had a decent couple of games the last week. Okay, they lost to Tennessee, fumbled the ball, threw away the ball. They're very careless with it. But they beat a decent Auburn team, another rival. But Texas, they're ready to put the crown on them, and they haven't played anybody yet. It's just by process of elimination. By Georgia proving to
right.
Let me finish, brother. By Georgia proving to be, not the team they are, or Alabama, same thing. We know they're not the team that they were projected. So all of a sudden, everybody's ready to give it to Texas. And 14 points, that's ridiculous.
It's a lot. They might be that good. I guess we'll find out.
All right, let's keep it pumping.
I'm going to ride the 14
train.
I never laid 14 points in the Red River Route.
There you go. All right, I'm continuing BYU. They continue to surprise. They just beat a tough Baylor team on the road. I'm giving 5.5, which is a lot, against a tough Arizona team we were just mentioning. But I like them. They're really well balanced. They play really well in the mountains there. And Arizona's going to find it, it's going to be a tough row against the BYU Cougars, given 5.5.
That's a tough one. Both those teams I've watched both of them play. They both look good to me. That's a hard.
Yeah,
it's a hard. I don't have an opinion on that one yet.
Probably yet. But all right, we'll be poised when you do. All right,
I do have an opinion on this one.
Go for it.
And this is not so much a pro USC bet because we've seen them look not terrific against Michigan, look terrible against Wisconsin for the for the first half of that game, and then the second half they rallied and they came back and somehow managed to win that thing. But getting 5 points at home against a Penn State team that I just feeling they're just a tad overrated. This is a toughie going out to the West Coast and kind of has a Rose Bowl look to it, with the Big Ten team go out there. Everybody, got them favored by 5 at USC. I don't see it. I don't see that. I think that number is too big. So I'm going to take the Trojans plus 5 against Penn State.
Normally, I would say, what? Against that defense of USC? But Penn State has no offense. They really haven't played anybody tough. Bowling Green, Kent State, and UCLA. What?
They haven't been tested.
Exactly. They're going to play.
This will be a test,
I assume. So, that that does look like an overrated team. Staying in the same conference, I'm shooting to the state of Ohio. We're staying in there. And Ohio State, supposed to be the big game, against Oregon. An Oregon team that really hasn't impressed, but grant you, it's a really tough place to play. Ohio State is given 3. Does it look too obvious? I think so. I think you're giving me that one. I know having to lay 3 going into Oregon is never easy. But I just think Ohio State is a level above this Oregon squad, and we're going to find out. That's my my nightcapper.
Once I just wanted to look at something. I just wanted to see who they're betting on that game starting up. I have to assume they're on Ohio State.
I assume so as well.
That baby little number, scares the hell out of me.
It looks too obvious.
Listen, Ohio State at times has looked scary good, including some of that game last week against Iowa. And Oregon has been underwhelming to me. I mean, they haven't looked great. What time is that? That's a night game?
I know it's later.
I just want to see what DraftKings has on this game.
Yeah, 7:30. It's a night game. Both undefeated. Both in the Big Ten.
I mean,
there's a hard one.
That is the softest number 3 ranked team in the country at this point in the season I think that I've ever seen. I mean, they're kind of solid on Ohio State right now.
Still early for those percentages.
Listen, in the old days, I'm on Oregon 100%. I like the fact that it doesn't make any sense, and I'd be all over them at home, getting a handful against Ohio State. But now, see too many of these games where the obvious comes in.
That's right. We can't work at prairies anymore.
Didn't work that way often at all.
Yeah,
in the old days, but now all the time you look at something like this. These two teams, this is a mismatch to me. I think Ohio State's a much stronger team. And if this game was being played in Ohio State, what would they be?
Exactly.
It would only be I think it'd be double digits for sure, right?
Well,
basically home field. And Oregon has a serious home field advantage. But if this was swung the other way, that Ohio State would be favored by 9, I don't know. At home, I think they'd be favored by a lot more than that. I think they're good enough. These guys are practically professionals. They've been in so many big games. They travel to tough places to play every season. I don't think this place is going to intimidate them. And I don't think
their coach
is good enough.
Yeah. They act professional because they're coached by a professional. This is a guy that is dedicated to that program and has chosen NIL players who buy in. And it's a we thing in Ohio State. I think this is their year, but, this is coming from the same guy who was tooting the horn of Tennessee and Utah and oh my God, Tennessee, I'm leaking oil on our offense. Defense still pretty tough. But I'm going with Ohio State, and that finishes me up for college. You got any more college picks?
You took 5. No, I only have 4.
Oh, sorry. I swung with the fences. I took 5.
Yeah, well, we had to talk about that game. That's a huge game. I mean, come on.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's swing right into the pros. Dave, I'm going to knock off my first one because it is Thursday night. And the Seahawks, who look pitiful against my G-men, how about those Giants? I don't think they're going to look beautiful 2 weeks in a row. They have the best receivers in the league. And, if Geno will stop pouting and taking little naps on the sideline, I think they have a good enough offense to beat a beat-up 49ers team. That team is reeling right now. You better stab them. You better kick them. You better step on their throat when they're down, because right now is the time to beat up on the Niners. This is, within their league, it's a super important game. Playing in Seattle is difficult. Bad taste in their mouth after last week. And I'm getting points. So you know what? I'll take Seattle plus 3.5, plus more than a field goal any day at home Thursday night.
I got a stat for you.
Rebuttal. There you go, stat man.
Not rebuttal. No, more reinforcement, I would think.
Thank you, Dave. Coming from Jersey, I appreciate
Seahawks 10-3 straight up in their last 13 games at home against San Francisco.
All right. No, they get up for that.
Spread in the last 16 at home against San Francisco, 12-4.
I like it. All right.
A couple of solid trends. Seahawks have won straight up 5 of the last 7 games as home underdogs. So I think you got some really, not overwhelming trends, but you got some nice solid trends in your favor. I
just think talent-wise, offensively, they're equal. Defensively, Seahawks are terrible, especially to give up all those yards to the Giants. But they're going to tighten up, and they got the 12th man there in Seattle. What else you got to do in Seattle? Let's go to the game. All right. Give me a pick for the NFL, starting away.
My first pick is just a team that, I've probably gone against them a couple times already this season because I didn't believe in them. But right now they got me believing that they're competitive team and getting a bunch of points against the team that I don't think has looked all that solid. Talking about the Baltimore Ravens there, but the team I'm putting my money on is going to be those Washington Commanders. In part, I just think this is going to be a fun game, whether it's a blowout or a close game or not, just because to have those two cities, which are so close to one another, both having competitive teams, and this actually being an interesting game that's going to have a pretty big impact on the standings in both conferences. I think that's fun. I think it's going to be great. And I'm going to go with those Washington Commanders getting a nice little healthy 6.5 points. I have to say, I haven't been able to see a lot of their games so far, but when I look at some of the things that they're doing, rookie quarterback who looks like he can play, he's completing an insanely high percentage of his passes. It's like never happened before through this many games in the season for anybody. So they got a little bit of a passing game going on there. I already know McLaughlin's a good receiver on the Commanders. They definitely have a solid running game. And their defense was dead last in the league last year. They were awful, but it looks like when I look at some of the stats from these games this year, they're doing a good job on defense too. So if they can get any defense, I think this offense, they're going to be competitive. So I'm taking Washington plus 6.5 against Baltimore.
Yeah, that's a very generous number considering what you say. And you're talking about him being a great passer and having a good passing game, not just completion-wise, completion percentage and passer rating, but long ball. He's able to stretch out these defenses, which I think also he will do. This is also one of my picks, getting 6.5. Washington Commanders, the same Commanders that I said take the under on the team total. So my tail is between my legs on that one. But let's make some money back then. Yeah, they're going to stretch out that D, and their D has been playing good, very good. So, hey, he's proven me wrong. I'm happy to learn, and I'm happy to cash a ticket. So I'll move on from that Washington Commanders pick, and I'm going to go with the Lions. The Lions are a notoriously poor road team, but I really think they're a tier above Dallas. Dallas had to eke out that victory, last week. Okay, tough place to play in Pittsburgh, but that's a team on the downside. I think they're going to, but I think you're going to get into that. Anyway, I'm looking at Dallas to falter against a better team, especially a team that can run against them. The Dallas run defense is terrible. Detroit's run offense, their ground game is, if not the best, one of the best. I think they're really pointing toward this team as a game as a statement game. And I'll take the Lions -3.
All right. Agree with everything you just said about that game.
All right.
And I just think you're talking about a team ascending against the team that really very fortunate to get out of that game against Pittsburgh with a W. I mean,
and we both had them. We both had Dallas.
Yeah, I was dying with them at the end there. I'm glad they won the game, but they didn't impress me. And it'll be a little while before I put any money on them again. I'll tell you that. My next game,
all right,
2, because you got 3 in the books here now, because we were the same on Washington.
That's true. Give me a daily
jump. I'm going to get through them real quickly. I'm looking at Arizona, +5 against the Packers. I think this is a good time for an Arizona team to go up to Green Bay. You don't have to worry about any, November even, but certainly not December weather. Hopefully it'll be a nice sunny day for the boys from the desert. Get up there, getting 5. They've been surprising a few people lately, including last week, and I look for them to do it again. I kind of get the feeling that maybe Green Bay was had a little bit more flow, was playing a little bit more solidly on offense with the backup quarterback. Now they got Love in there. I know they kind of rallied in that game last week, but boy, the beginning of the game against Vikings was just horrendous. Yeah, so I'm looking at Arizona plus a 5 against Green Bay. I just think people aren't taking the Cardinals seriously, and I think they're a little bit better team than they're being given credit for. Next one I'm looking at is I'm just looking at Pittsburgh kind of, losing that game to Dallas, which would have been maybe another game where they were fortunate to snake out a W, kind of like what they were doing at the beginning of the year. I see them on a team in a little bit of a decline. I didn't think the offense looked good at all with Justin Fields, who I prefer him as their quarterback to Russell Wilson, who I think's finished, but they did not look good against the Cowboys. They just didn't. They had a couple plays here and there, turnover, etc. But didn't think Pittsburgh looked good. And Raiders at home. Listen, I'm not crazy about the Raiders either. This is more of an anti-Pittsburgh bet than it is a pro-Vegas bet. I'm taking the Raiders plus 3 at home against Pittsburgh.
All these teams that are 3-2 and 2-3 against the spread, it's enough to drive you crazy, other than Minnesota and Denver and Washington.
Well, it's a game of converging averages.
It's unbelievable. And then at the bottom, of course, you got, your Miamis and Carolina. And the big surprise is Houston against the spread anyway. They're only 1-4. Actually, they're 1-3-1. But this is a team that you said was a little bit overrated coming in.
I did feel that way. But record-wise, they're probably pretty happy with where they're at.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right.
Against the spread, they've been
getting back to what you said about the Packers, and we were both talking about it earlier. I'm more comfortable with the way they were playing with the backup quarterback. The other players seemed to react to that, and the effort was there, especially for the ground game. Jordan Love, he's just not into the rhythm that he was toward the end of last year. No, I like that pick with Arizona. This is a team with Kyle Murray. As long as he's running, able to run, like you said, it's not wet or it's not snowy, because that guy creates, Patrick Holmes-esque. I think he's the second, quarterback that can create outside of Patrick. Yeah, your Vegas pick, I'm also with you on that one. So we're together on a couple of them, being Washington.
Oh, okay, that's right. So now you're on for 4, and I'm so it's me again. I'm up.
You're up, and then I'm going to finish with a Monday night game. Give me another pick, Dave.
Awesome. All right. We're going to go to the Mile High City. And, hey.
I see it deep.
They might have found something in that game against the Jets. And I think what they found is this is a team that's going to rely on their defense. They have a rookie quarterback. Maybe he's not ready to play in the league, on a week-to-week basis. Is going to have growing pains, going to have problems. But they're going to be in the game. It almost doesn't matter that their offense is a little bit challenged, because this Denver defense looks tough. They really do. I mean, the Chargers were one of my teams at the beginning of the season that I thought was going to play better than predicted, and they have so far. And one of the reasons, they played a little bit better than predicted. They had the bye last
You've been on the Chargers.
I think a lot of people I've been on the Chargers, but not here. I do have I got a serious trend going for me on this game. Last 11 games in Denver between the Broncos and the Jets. Broncos are 10-1. Straight up.
Then explain to me
one time in the last 11 games
is that
ever.
Spread a -3. Why?
I'm not sure, except for the bye week, and I know that Chargers had a lot of injuries.
Yes,
you're a little healthier now. Even quarterback had the high ankle sprain. Maybe it's a little better. Don't think it's going to mean all that much, because they're just playing against a team that is going to not give up a whole hell of a lot of points in this game. They gave up 10.
Mile High.
Yeah, Denver gave up 10 points last week pretty quickly in that game, and then they didn't give up anything.
We both were on Denver last week. Yes, we saw that early touchdown. We were going crazy.
Game was over.
Throwing everything around. Everybody was ducking. The dog was ducking. The wife was ducking left, ducking right. And then they took over. When I looked at the spread, I'm like, that can't be right,
Yeah.
Because Denver's 4-1 against the number so far, and they have a real good against the spread, plus minus rating of 8.8, close to 10 points.
Yeah.
Tough team. I just can't wrap my head around why. It kind of smells why they're getting three at home.
I mean, look, one thing about this game, look at the total on this game.
Yeah.
You don't see many totals that low in regular season NFL games. This game is going to be a slugfest where this could be first team to 10 wins, like the Jet Denver game. Honest to God, this game could be first team to 10 wins a game. And historically, these teams have been playing under games. Chargers are 11-3 under in their last 14 divisional games. Chargers are 8-1 under in their last 9 road games. Just the last 15 games played by the Chargers on a Sunday, 14 unders out of 15. I mean, there's why this is a super low total. One of these teams might get shut out. It might even be Denver, but this could be a shutout, which shutouts are rare these days in the NFL.
It's the lowest.
They get on the board somehow. Plus, they all have kickers who can kick 60-yard field goals.
Yeah, that's
especially
true.
in Mile High Stadium.
Mile High.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're at least get a
total on the board, Dave, 35.5, right behind our Steelers Raiders, which is 36.5. But lowest total on the board.
Yeah. Everything about this game, trend-wise, is screaming under. So they made it 35.5.
And as you would do, if they're going to, if it's an under bet, take the points, of course, at home. I still don't get it. I mean, Drake May's playing real well. Peyton's, got this team believing in themselves. Harbaugh, I love him. But that's a banged-up Chargers team and a tough place to play. All right, I'm going to finish off. I don't think they've sent the white flag up the pole, but there's some disarray in New York. The Jets are hosting the Bills after their London fiasco. I don't think they even had time for a couple of ales or sweet ales or whatever they drink over there in limey-ass London. The Jets, we still had a chance to cover late, but they ruined it for me. I just think the Bills are a better team. They got embarrassed last week. I think Josh Allen is going to get back to doing what he does best, is running, throwing, bashing. And I don't think it's going to take much to beat a Jets team that looks a little bit demoralized. And, who's going to be calling plays? Aaron Rodgers? I assume so. I'm taking the Bills minus 2.5.
Judging from the newspapers today in New York, you would thought that Robert Saleh was like Vince Lombardi and Chuck Noll and Bill Walsh and Bill Parcells all rolled into, and Andy Reid, who happens to be a great coach, all rolled into one. I was like, and we've been talking about this for 2 years, right? I've been telling you, that guy had no business being a head coach in the NFL. I loved the hire when they first picked him. I thought all the background and everything seemed right. The press conferences, everything seemed cool. But the game decisions and just the simplest things, and we've discussed this at length, not being able to manage the clock, not choosing the right plays in the last 2 minutes of the first half and the last 2 minutes of a game, shockingly bad with this guy. And
they should ask us. We're the ones that watch
a lot of games. I'm very sensitive to just decisions, but this guy was practically a clown when it came to that. And I will argue this. I will show you tape. I'll show you game situations where this team pissed away games over the last few years because of coaching decisions. And I'm happy that I can't believe they fired him.
Including last week is exactly right. Exactly right. That game was there to be won. The game against Denver was there to be won. Also, because he was supposed to be such a great defensive coach, and you look at the numbers with the Jets, but the numbers with the Jets lie a little bit because in the fourth quarter, they're never the same defense. They don't shut teams down in the fourth quarter. That's when games are won and lost, and that's when the Jets usually lose them. I can't say that you're on the wrong side of this game. However, games, it doesn't matter what the sport is. Man, you should see this in soccer over in Europe. Teams with a first game head coach, they win an inordinate amount of the time. I've seen
the
that.
Jets to come out here and not have this nincompoop making the decisions at the end of at the end of the half and at the end of the game, and maybe being able to pull a game out against a Buffalo team that, I think is reeling a little bit here. They were embarrassed by Baltimore. I mean, and Baltimore exposed a lot of things on Buffalo, including the fact that their defense is shit. Now, they're not going to have to be great to shut the Jets down. Our offense is not clicking at all.
I just think everything went right with Baltimore last week, including Lamar getting out of that play and throwing it for a touchdown. I mean, just like the Baltimore revival,
Yeah,
Creedence Clearwater revival.
Right. But, they don't have to worry about that here because
exactly
statue for a quarterback, a guy who just, Rodgers is just going to get rid of the ball quickly. He's not going to take a hit.
Well, he just, that slant only, the Vikings were waiting for it. I mean, I love Aaron Rodgers. I want him to do good. I bet him, he's an old guy. Come on, Letterman. He's just starting to do good.
Wording in progress.
Yes, and that's, the Bills are a better team. You and I both know it.
I don't know about that necessarily.
Hey.
Results-wise, yes, obviously.
If you'd rather have Aaron Rodgers instead of Josh Allen, the Wyoming Cowboy, come on, there's no comparison. I think the Bills get back on track, whereas the Jets, like I said, from the beginning, their personnel, maybe the talent level is there, but there's some chemistry missing.
Oh, and I don't think they fired the coach.
Well, we'll see if that works. Your theory, we'll see if it's intact.
For many reasons.
Yes. But I know you're feeling on the Jets. Give me your feeling on that game.
Well, we were talking a lot about the under in the Denver game, and this one is looking the exact same thing. And it's got especially for a game that the Bills are involved in, and the Bills' defense, as we saw against Baltimore, they are definitely challenged. But
they are
41 on this game with no bad weather expected at all. It's pretty low for a game with Buffalo involved, but I think that has more to do with the Jets than with Buffalo. It's just we're looking more like these, 10-9 games, and not so much the 40-34 games. But as far as trends go, this game has a ton of under trends. Last 12 games for the Jets in the division, 11 unders, 11 out of 12.
Wow.
Bills
doesn't say much for your quarterbacking in New York.
But then what about Buffalo? Last 12 games for Buffalo, 10 unders. Now their totals are usually a little bit on the high side because they have offense, but still, that's a lot out of 12 games. 10. That's a lot of unders. These two teams playing against each other have played 5 straight unders, and 8 out of the last 11 games between the Bills and the Jets have gone under.
Yeah, they're begging you to play the over, right?
Last night, with 41. All right, and Buffalo giving up a ton of points last time they played, and everybody thinks their offense is so great. I don't. They have issues. But anyway, their last 19 games on the river for Buffalo, 15 unders, 4 overs. 15 unders out of 19.
Well, it says a lot about the Jets' offense also. I mean, I really think the Buffalo Bills are 2.5 points better than the Jets. They might
end up winning this game 10-6.
It could be. It could be.
Could happen. All right, but anyway, so maybe more than my faith in a first-time coach angle on the Jets, and the Jets being a home team dog on Monday night. That used to be a great angle. It's not quite so good anymore, but definitely kind of looking at the under in your Buffalo Jets game here. So I got one left.
You got another pick, Dave.
Yeah, I got one left.
To that.
Does anybody notice anything different? Earlier on, I was having a nice coffee.
Well, now you're having a nice beer. Coffee, beer.
Not so much now.
Somebody's looking east, somebody's looking west.
Watch for baseball. Yeah. Getting ready for the Mets tonight, which is we're all over the Mets with Quintana over the flealess.
It's a dog day in
Suarez.
My Tigers are up 2-0. So you're going for the over there.
Yeah, the over.
Yes. So don't worry.
I wish your Tigers well. I hope they score 8 runs. I'll be happy.
So we need Willie Horton's on deck. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, Willie Horton. And then Dick McAuliffe's going to come through.
Dick McAuliffe.
Go to right field.
Yeah. Northrop.
All right. So my last pick,
What is it?
I absolutely love, is the New York Football Giants.
G-Man.
Cincinnati Bengals.
Danny Dime coming also.
Got the
Best
job done
performance
in
in 2
Cincinnati.
years.
Got the job done in Cincinnati against a team that everybody thought was going to spank them. I did not. We loved the Giants last week, too. What did we get?
They did it for us.
The hot giant hand and thinking they're going to come home. And, I mean,
What is the issue with Cincinnati?
they look terrible to me. Even when they finally win a game, they don't look all that
They
great.
found a way to lose. Yeah. And that's bad. That's poison. And it can be the opposite. Find your way to win, where the Giants are kind of, they're finding how to compete at least. Let's hope, their rookie can play this weekend. He's exciting to watch, and he's a great target. Jones has been throwing the ball. They've been protecting him. That's been the difference.
I mean, the books are still saying something about the Giants, that they have them as a home team dog against a team that's won one game against Carolina. Didn't even look that good in that game.
That's true. They almost did not cover the last quarter.
Really, they're supposed to win that game last week against Baltimore. Another reason why I don't really like Baltimore.
We both had them, brother. That bungled field goal. Jesus Christ. I could hold a goddamn football, when it snapped back to me. But these are professionals.
Yeah.
And the amount of drop passes, please, it's driving, us gamblers crazy.
Let's we recapped our college, right? So let's recap our pros. Okay, who do you got?
Dave Reno. I'm with you on a couple. Washington, I'm getting 6.5, and the Raiders from Vegas getting 3. But I also have the Buffalo Bills -2.5.
Ooh,
Lions -3 going into Dallas.
like that pick.
That'd be a D. I got the Thursday night game. I got the Seahawks. Yeah, the lowly Seahawks hosting the 49ers, and I'm taking that 3.5. Those are my 5 picks. I got 5, senor.
Yeah, the Thursday night game, I could not figure that game out for the life of me. I'm glad you have an opinion on it. I'll probably be end up on the same side. Since any team that lost to the Giants, of course, everybody's going to be hating them the next week out. And I just think a lot of things going wrong with San Francisco right now. So hopefully you're on the right track there with your Seahawks.
It's just the time to pounce on it because they're going to get better. They're going to get healthier.
We concur. Do you concur? I
concur.
Washington and the Raiders. And my picks are Arizona +5 against Green Bay, Denver +3 at home against the Los Angeles Chargers, and the New York Football Giants +3.5 against the hapless Cincinnati Bengals. At least I hope they're hapless on Monday. So that's it. That's it for season 1, episode 7 of the Dave and Dave Show. We hope you got something good out of this. We hope you got some winners. So here's the
Give us some likes. Let us know how you guys are doing. Give us some feedback. And we'll be here next week to count some money and give you more winners.
And just a little shout out to my my host for the last segment of the show here. I am at the Nook, which is the nightclub restaurant.
It looks like a hell of a Nook there.
Yeah, it's
I see you've changed location.
The Rock Ridge Golf Course. And beautiful day here at Lake Hall.
You're having a nice beer.
That I'm here talking to you. All right. I am having a nice beer. I'm going to probably have one of these. Anyway.
All right. Enjoy yourself. And everybody out there, we shall see you next week with Dave and Dave.
That's right. All right. Dave Areno signing off.